Hey everyone, and welcome as we continue our study through the New Testament, looking at the New Testament church. We're at Colossians 4 verses 2 through 6 today. We're wrapping up and getting close to the end of Colossians, and so we're going to look at this. Paul's going to encourage them or give an encouragement for prayer. So let's look at this real quick. This is a little short section. It says in Colossians 4, starting verse 2, it says, "Devote yourselves to prayer with an alert mind and a thankful heart. Pray for us too, that God will give us many opportunities to speak about his mysterious plan concerning Christ. That is why I am here in chains. Pray that I will proclaim the message as clearly as I should. Live wisely among those who are not believers and make the most of every opportunity. Let your conversations be gracious and attractive so that you will have the right response for everyone." And so this is, an encouragement for prayer. It's just a short little section here. And a lot of the New Testament letters often would end with an exhortation to pray, along with requests for prayer. We see this. This is a common thing. And he says that God will give you many opportunities. Literally, it means that God will open for us a door. And so what he's saying, and what he's using here is open a door as a metaphor for an opportunity to proclaim the good news. And this is something we should all be looking for, right? We should all be praying for is an opportunity to speak or proclaim the good news of Christ to somebody. And so he then explains, he said, "This is why I'm here in chains," right? Paul's dedication to preaching the good news has led to his imprisonment, and now he's in Rome and in prison for that, because of that. And so he reminds him, like, make the most of every opportunity that you can. Like, literally, the little translation there is the buy up time, right? And so he's saying, like people who are buying up a product offer at a good price, Christians are to buy up, take advantage of every opportunity, right, that God gives them to share the good news and to serve others. And so this is something that we should, as Christians, we should continually be looking for, continually be finding the opportunity to teach and speak to someone about the good news. And he encourages the Colossians to manifest and attract a testimony to non-Christians. Some versions here, the New Testament, some versions use the term "seasoned with salt" when talking about these last couple of verses here about living wisely among, and making the most of our time. Let your conversations be gracious and attractive. And the statement here echoes the teachings of Jesus when he called his disciples to be the salt of the earth in Matthew 5:13. But when applied to conversation, right, the way he ends this section suggests like speaking in an interesting and stimulating and wise way, not just not crazy, not boring, not it's something that should be attractive to people. When people see it, like, oh, I want at least want to listen to see what they have to say. And so we can tell by Paul's comments, right, that he assumes that the Colossians believers are really involved in the local community and are have ample opportunities to interact with outsiders in a way that would commend the gospel to them. And we need to make sure that we're living the same way and that we're doing the same thing. I think too often we get too caught up in our own little Christian bubble, and we become so involved in that we just don't have anything to do a lot of times with outsiders. And that's not what we're called to. That's not what Christ calls us to. And we see this with Paul. And so not only do we need to be praying for the opportunity to reach people and to reach the lost and to show Jesus to people, but we need to make sure that we are actively seeking to do that. And in order to do that, you're going to have to be involved and be around people who are not Christians. And so that's the encouragement that we see here, I think, from Paul, or the expectation. He's encouraging us to pray for the opportunities, and then he assumes that we're going to, be out in the world, out amongst people who we would have the opportunity to do that. And so we need to make sure that we're always looking for that. And I know that can be a scary thought. I know in some situations it's harder than others. But Paul's like, look, I'm in jail for it, and so I'm not going to let that stop me. and you shouldn't let anything stop you either. Just being afraid of it, whatever, it shouldn't stop you. We should, we should continually be talking to people and encouraging people to get to know Christ, and remind them about who Christ is in a loving, kind way, right? In a way that's going to be attractive to them, not in a condemnation, not in a attacking, not in a shaming way. Right? And I don't think that you win anybody, but to really truly win anybody to the gospel by shaming them. And so it should be very similar to how Christ did. He approached people with kindness and love, and told them about who he was, and why he was there. And so I think that's the important lesson that we can learn from this. So as always, I hope you learned a little bit from this. I know this one's a little bit shorter, but as always, I encourage you to follow along with us and continue to, if you want to, subscribe to the channel. That way you can continue to study this with us. We do these daily, send it out trying to do it every single morning so we can study the Bible. And as always, I appreciate everyone who takes time to watch, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.